Heads up, if you have kids around, parental advisory is in effect.
Parental advisory is in effect.
This is the Bonus Bone Podcast with Lamont and Tonelli, Baby Huey, and Chasta.
Welcome back to the Bonus Bone Podcast. Chasta, Lamont, and Tonelli, and Baby Huey. The woot is back. I wooted last week for you, but it's just not the same.
It's not the same. You got to have the real woot.
Yeah. Since we are wrapping up the month of love, February, we decided to talk about tragic moments at weddings.
And the craziest fucking
moments.
shit you've ever seen at a wedding.
So, Lamont, this is your idea. You want to start?
Well, you know what? I will say this. There's nothing like a Canadian wedding.
Okay.
And especially after the booze gets flowing.
Oh, boy.
That the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And believe you me, I wish all weddings were like this. The mothers of the bride and groom got into a fucking fist fight.
A fist fight?
It was outstanding.
Is this in the wedding or at the reception?
At the reception later.
Okay.
Hair pulling, you bitch.
No
da-da-da.
way.
A mom
That's-
cat fight.
That is the way
Right?
to start a freaking marriage.
Oh, my God. I
Right?
can't even imagine that.
Yes.
What did they do?
Well, they just, one woman said something to the other that pissed her off. And then everyone had been drinking at this point. And at that point, a full-on mother cat fight took place. I mean, hair pulling, they're in their gowns. It was spectacular.
That's some entertainment right there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there sipping your drink, I'm
going,
sure, and
wow,
giggling.
This is outstanding.
Did you know these people very well?
No, I didn't really know them that well. I think I was there with a friend who, like a gal that I was dating at the time, but it was a very casual deal.
Yeah.
So I didn't know them.
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm thinking, wow, this is white trash personified. How great is this fucking wedding?
I thought I was representing the white trash.
Oh, there's plenty of white trash up north.
There's
Let me tell you
no white
this.
trash like Canadian white trash.
That I
there's
didn't-
plenty of white
that's
trash
news.
there.
I did not. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Canadian white trash.
Yeah. I mean, the mothers of the bride and groom fighting, that sets the friggin' table right there.
Never seen a fight at a wedding that I can think of. Surely I'd remember that.
Yeah.
My only horrible wedding stories are from my own first wedding, and that's the key.
Yeah.
And several things happened that day that were bad. But the one I remember at the time that I was like, oh, that's probably not a good sign. Turned out it wasn't a good sign, was our Unity candle blew out.
I don't even know what a Unity candle
So
is.
a Unity candle, it's a big thing in Oklahoma. I don't know if
Well, they
people
do it out here.
They do it out here
on
a little
occasion.
bit.
Yeah, it depends on the couple getting married.
Yeah, so it's a candle that you have up on stage or wherever you're getting married beside you, and you each have a smaller candle and you light it together. And so
Right.
it's
It's a touchy-feely thing.
It's a touchy-feely thing, showing that you're two coming into one, right? It's like that whole
Gotcha.
moment. So we lit it, and it was lit for like 10 seconds, and then it just poof went out.
You sure it wasn't one of those trick candles they put on
Candles?
birthday cakes?
What a dick move that would be from
Oh, my
somebody.
God. That's
Can you
$1 million
imagine?
idea.
That or sparkler. Or friggin' just like a fireworks, just start shooting sparks.
And well, I should be careful what I say here. I was going to say that could be a metaphor for marriage. It sparks in the beginning and then fizzles
Oh,
out.
exactly.
Not for me currently
Yes.
in this marriage, in my remaining
Previous
marriage for the
marriage.
rest of my life. No, but it was on the hottest day of the summer in July in Oklahoma.
Humidity,
Outdoors.
99%.
It was 110. It was the most humid day.
It was hot for my marriage,
And
too. It was like
was it really?
105, 110 degrees.
and
Yeah.
was it outside?
Outdoors, yes.
Oh, wow, that's brutal.
Yeah.
And it just poof went out. There was not any wind at all, by the way. It was not like a windy day.
It just went out
It
on
just
its
went
own.
out.
Just poof.
on its own.
However, getting back to like how hot it was in San Jose, and Tonelli, you remember it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was that friggin' hot. Mm-hmm. I had the shortest vows in the history of, will you take her to marry? Yes. Him? Yes.
That is
okay,
a
let's
true
go
story.
inside.
That's kind of on brand
if
for
you.
you.
If you were fucking late for that, for the actual ceremony, by 4 minutes, you would have missed the friggin' vows.
Yeah, including the procession end, it was probably 3.5 minutes. Yeah,
Lamont's not known to be the most patient man.
And just get to it.
Get
to the business.
That was my first wedding. My husband's first wedding also had bad stuff. It was outdoors in Tahoe as you can imagine, horrible weather. Surprise, surprise in Tahoe.
Right.
It was cold and super rainy, and they were under a tent, and the tent collapsed, and all the rain fell right on his grandma, directly soaked her. And then also while they were getting married, obviously I wasn't there. This is my husband's first wedding, but he's told me the stories. Also, one of the bridesmaids while they were getting married passed out. Apparently, she was really uber hungover.
Oh, that's outstanding.
And I guess, I don't know, locked her legs or whatever and passed out right in the middle of the ceremony.
Face plant?
Face plant.
Oh, that's
just boom,
great.
just drop.
Just boom. So they had to stop. Yeah, and help
Make sure
her
she
up.
wasn't
It was a
dead.
whole thing. Yeah, make sure she's not dead. So both of us had signs in our first weddings that we probably should have. But what do? You can't be like, oh, the unity candle's out. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Bye.
No, it's kind of hard to call time out at that point.
Can't really do
Yeah.
that. So anyway.
I was kind of a dick at a wedding years and years ago.
No.
I haven't seen fights at a wedding, and there was nothing tragic about this wedding.
Yeah.
But a buddy of mine got married. This is going back, 30 some odd years. And all the buddies were in the wedding, including me. And wedding was in San Francisco, a little neighborhood church, very cute church. It just in a neighborhood, wasn't like a big cathedral or anything like that. Just a neighborhood church in San Francisco, smaller church. And his wife, we suspect that she never really cared for his friends to begin with, but we don't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah.
And so the wedding happens, and then they take the pictures in the church after the wedding. And afterwards, we're outside, and they're still doing the family pictures inside the church. And they hand us balloons outside the church. And they said, instead of rice, we're just going to release balloons.
Okay.
I'm like, who doesn't throw rice
You're such a traditional.
at a wedding?
Yeah.
So but at that point, I'm like, okay, we'll release the balloons. Well, they were taking so long in the church, taking pictures, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Kitty corner from where this church was a little neighborhood grocery store.
I thought you were going to say bar. I thought for sure.
That was later. So, and I've always regretted doing this, but I went in and I bought like 5 bags of rice.
Oh, that's great.
You did not.
I thought you were going to say you brought condoms.
No.
Blew the condoms up.
So apparently, I didn't know this, but the church forbid you from throwing rice outside the church, I guess because of insurance liability, people slipping on the rice.
Yeah.
That's why they handed out the balloons. Well, I went out. We'd been drinking before the wedding anyway.
That was a surprise. Paul not following instructions.
I know, right?
So I bought 4 or 5 bags, the 3-pound bags of rice, whatever they come in. And I went around the crowd outside the church, and I'm like, oh, have some rice. Have some rice. Here, give me your hand. I'll pour. So everybody had hands full of rice. And they're like, well, hold it. We're supposed to release the balloons. I said, yeah, but they just didn't have the rice. Here's the rice.
Balloons and rice.
Well,
oh, my God.
so they come out of the church for the balloon release, and they just got pelted with rice all the way down the sidewalk outside the church.
How
leading
pissed was the bride?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I bet.
She was furious.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it wasn't really the greatest start to the reception. And
Did the marriage last?
if she didn't like his friends before the wedding, she certainly hated us.
Did the marriage last?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
really?
yeah.
They're still
Nice
together?
family. Oh, yeah.
Do you still know her?
Yeah.
Did she ever come at you about it?
No.
No? Really?
You blame someone else.
Yeah, right?
I think she just harbored this grudge for the last 30 years
You know
or so.
how much shit she's talked about you behind your back?
Oh,
probably?
without a doubt. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know who cleaned up the rice, but there was rice everywhere.
Oh, man.
I will tell you the
a
best
dick move.
sabotage of a wedding I've ever heard. And Paul, he's our buddy, and I'm not going to say his name.
Okay.
But there was a real fancy wedding that the wedding was down in San Diego, and they had it at the SeaWorld or something, or the aquarium.
SeaWorld, right?
So the ceremony took place in front of the big tank.
Oh,
and
wow.
The reception. Well, the guy got hammered, and he took off his clothes, and he jumped into the glass wall tank.
What?
So when everyone was getting set to do their speeches, all of a sudden there comes naked guy in the background at their wedding.
Oh, my God. That is amazing.
Hilarious.
Yes.
That wasn't you?
No, that wasn't me. But it really fucked up the wedding. And to this day, she won't talk to the guy.
Yeah, I don't
Ruined
know.
her wedding.
Well, the wedding was a good friend of mine, and we're still good friends.
Yeah.
He's never really brought it up.
So
But,
this is just something
I will
you've
just
never
say, if
talked
they happen
about?
to be, I mean, if they're listening, they know exactly who they are.
I bet.
I'm sorry. All these years later, I've thought about it for years. Probably.
You
a
ever
dick
take
move.
them out to like
Yeah.
Benihana for fried rice or anything like that?
Right.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
man.
Should never have done that. But it was pretty damn funny.
That is very,
At the
very
time.
You had
funny.
your clothes on.
It was very immature.
But also kind of iconic. Although if somebody would have slipped and fell and then they would have been in trouble with the venue, then yeah, that would have
Then
been
it could have been tragic.
Then it could have been tragic, yeah. Huey, do you have a bad wedding story?
It's not so much a bad wedding story. It was more just the location that I loved. It turned into like a really fun ceremony. Was so my best friend Brian, him and his
Foo Fighters, Brian?
yeah, Foo Fighters, Brian. Yeah. So him and his fiance, or now his wife now, they were together for like, I think 8-9 years before he finally proposed to her.
Not a bad idea.
I know,
I was going to say,
I know.
that sounds like Tonelli. All right.
I approve.
So
Yeah.
they finally, he proposed and they're, planning the wedding out. And I said, so where are you going to have the wedding? He says, I'm going to have it at my work. I was like, your work? He's like, yeah.
Where does he work?
At the he works at Economy Lumber in Oakland on High Street right there.
They got married at a lumber
I was like,
yard.
you're going to get married at the lumber yard? He's like, yeah, my boss is going to give me the whole property for the day for free.
He was really putting the economy in his wedding.
Exactly. So I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. So they set up like the parking lot normally where all the trucks come through to pick up the wood for the day. So that's where they they set up all the chairs there in rows outside like the main little building they have there. So and then they had the arch and everything set up right there.
Did they decorate and like class
bit,
it up
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit?
A little bit.
I mean,
They cleared the wood out. That's like in the main
Right.
property, the yard or the street right there. So they moved everything. They cleared it out. They put all the chairs there, and then on the backside they had all these big tents for everyone to sit in with
Yeah.
the tables and everything. But they brought
So they did the reception there too?
Yeah, exactly. So right around the corner. So for anyone who listens and goes to Economy Lumber, you know the whole like big parking
Is this
lot. they have.
sponsored now, this
I know, right?
podcast?
Yeah, sponsored by. Brought to you by.
So
Wow.
So it was right there. So they did the ceremony. It was great. It was a sunny day, so it was very warm and all that. But the tents, we had kegs out there, doing keg
All right.
stands and everything. It turned
Okay,
into like
the
a very
fact
fun.
that the wife was okay with this, though,
Yeah.
it's probably a good sign of a great woman because if
Oh, yeah.
she's like, yeah, no, whatever, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's probably pretty rad because
Yeah.
I know a lot of girls that would not be down with that.
No, it was, I mean, for them to get the whole property for free to fit everyone there. She comes from a very, very big family. And so just to fit everyone and then have the tent, it worked out perfectly.
And later on that night, he gave her the wood.
Oh,
Yes,
boy.
exactly.
Everybody wear work clothes like overalls or
Right? I know,
I
right?
should have done that.
You should have done that. That's a missed opportunity.
No, but
Right?
it's great. I think that way, because the location, I think it kind of just made sure everyone was like loosen up. You know what I mean? Like the pressure of
Yeah.
being in a
It was
church
a
or
little bit
whatever.
more
It was
casual,
more
yeah.
casual that way. So I think it was good vibes all throughout the day because
So
of
when
it.
you get married, you plan on using the lumber yard?
I might have
No,
to.
I have to ask you, when you get married one day,
Yeah.
how will you incorporate wrestling into your wedding? Because
Oh,
we know it's going to
yes.
happen. Are you going to get married in a ring? Like what?
Ooh.
I feel like if you didn't, I'd be real disappointed.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Getting
I
married in
mean-
the ring, sure.
Or
You have to in some way.
But like entrance
ring.
music. You come down to entrance music. You come down the
You
aisle.
have a big intro and like
Yeah.
the curtains go.
Have fans holding up signs. But then like the reception, maybe I could put someone through a table or
Oh my
something.
God. Your best man. Your best man, Tommy.
Tommy's-
Looking at you.
He's going to be put through a table.
Has to be put through a table.
Be just like the drunk driving show.
Yeah. All right, when you find a girl that will put up with all these shenanigans, I want to help you plan this wedding.
Yeah, no, I'm totally down to
That'll
make
be
it
the
fun,
most
over the
interesting
top.
wedding I think I've ever been.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else.
And I'm using air quotes around interesting.
Could we get married in the ring?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then
you
walk
gotta
out.
walk to
Yeah.
the ring, and then you get married in the middle of the ring, and instead of having
And
Ring announcer
the ring
Yeah,
announcer
you can
will
be-
be the
wearing the tuxedo.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you got to
yeah.
get married indoors then because the mic's got to come down
Mics
from
come
the
down.
roof.
Yes.
Oh my God. Well,
You should do it.
the lumberyard's out. Oh, yeah.
Well, any woman that was interested just dropped you after hearing the podcast.
Yes, when we say
ladies,
one day
if
when you
you're
get married, one day when you get married, it will be for one day.
I see an annulment in your future. Oh,
my God.
poor Huey. All right, well, you answered my burning question. I've always wondered that about you, so now we know. And you hadn't even thought of it.
He's going to take that and run with it
He
now.
will.
You've just created a monster.
Oh, God, yeah. And Jericho's going to be his best man. Tommy's got competition.
Oh, yeah. We should ask him.
He'll be here
on
this week.
Thursday.
And he's going to say, when's your wedding? Oh, no, I'm not dating anyone
Yeah,
yet.
I'm just planning it out.
Planning. I'm just reserving you. You're my main focus.
It's so on brand that Jericho's the most important part of your wedding.
Or he could be the person does the vows.
Oh, you
what's
just got
that
to-
person called?
you
The
got-
efficient?
Yeah.
You got demoted.
Yeah, that's all right.
Minister, the reverend.
Yeah, that guy.
Reverend Jericho. Remember this. We'll tell him this on Thursday. All right, you guys. Well, gosh, fights and I was going to say blown out unity candles, blown out candles. I'm going to stop right there. Thanks for being with us today. Make sure you subscribe to 107.7 The Bone wherever you get your audio. We love you for being here. We'll talk to you
Once
next
again,
week.
I am sorry
Bye,
for
Tonelli,
buying
so
the
sorry.
rice. I apologize.
That is a dick move.